Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar. My name is Robert Mbololo and I'm the Digital Marketing Specialist and the Microsoft Cloud Services Evangelist at Technobrain Group. Technobrain Group is among the leading providers of cloud services for both backup and disaster recovery. So today we are presenting data protection and business continuity in the cloud. One of the presenters will be my colleague, William Aplilu, who is based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them in the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. I will bring them up during the presentation and we will also have time for the questions at the end of this particular session. So now without further ado, we will turn over to my presentation. As I mentioned, when I started, our focus today will be on, introduction to cloud platform, Azure backup, and Azure site recovery. But before I do that, allow me to go a step backwards and introduce the company, Technobrain, who we are, what we do, when we started, our footprint, our tentacles across the globe, and how we've been able to execute on different solutions across. So Technobrain, we are known for our very strong tagline, that's for Africa, from Africa by Africa. At a glance, Technobrain has business units. Currently, we're split in 7 business units with a total workforce of 1,600 worldwide, cutting across 23 nationalities, and 1,400 of us reside in Africa. We are proud to say that we have been proved to be ACI CMMM level 5. In terms of our geo presence, we have 19 countries present in Africa and 23 globally. We have a very strong advocacy around having women in IT. Our success stories cut across over 450 projects executed, 70 unique solutions, and 11 IP products. Evolution of Technobrain started in 1997, and around the same time we were able to move into 2 more countries. Apart from Tanzania, we moved into Kenya and Uganda between 1997 and 2002. From there we took up a strategic move between the year 2003-2008, and we expanded to West Africa, Eastern Southern, and Central Africa. And the year 2009 to 2015, we took a global expansion, and we set up our offices in India. We moved into Europe, that is the USA, UK, Asia, and Western Southern Africa. In terms of our employee workforce, then you can get a feel of the trajectory that we took in terms of adding more employees and building our workforce. From 1997, having a team of 10, and with our projections still going up. Again, our global presence, as I've mentioned, we have 19 countries in Africa, moved into Middle East, India, UK, and the US. in terms of solutions that we've been able to build and key focus, we have been able to have in-house very solid solutions that are focusing extremely on education, healthcare, environment, and building skills. So with that, I'm sure you have a very good picture of who TechnoBrain is, and that sets a very clear stage on what we're going to focus on today. So again, back to our main topic of the day. I would love to set in agendas, and one of them will be Azure backup and Azure site recovery. We will look into the business continuity. We will focus on solutions that will protect your data and how organizations will be able to safeguard their applications in times of a disaster. Cloud platform and data backup, Azure site recovery. So just to have a brief introduction of what Azure is, then Azure provides a very flexible, open, and a solid setup that allows businesses to be able to migrate into. The way it's been structured is that it has a global footprint in terms of where its accessibility is. The video will be shared at the end of the presentation that will be able to give you a very clear picture of how you can transit your business from most of your on-premise application to cloud, and how you'll be able to safeguard both your platforms as running on your desktop and be able to back them up, and how you're able to again recover all your solutions, or rather your platforms, your application back to in case of a disaster. So one of the key things that Azure provides you is that you pay only for what you use. It allows you to be able to run machines that have been backed up. When a disaster happens, there are very complex issues that normally come, and most of the time you realize is that we have a lot of untested recovery platforms, and that over time they have actually decreased their recovery confidence. There has been a very high cost associated to data sizes and the number of VMs that are increased. And if you look at how most of these existing solutions have been structured, then they have not given most organizations an opportunity to be able to deploy. So your business solution are not silos. That means your business continuity solution should be. Now, as we get into the technical aspects of how you're able to deploy Azure, how you're able to move in your business into cloud, and how you're able to build up your backup, and how you're able to build up on your recovery, I would just want to pose in a question. So let me share with you one question. You can go ahead and pick up one of answers that you think might be key. I'll give you a couple of seconds to be able to select your answers, and then I'm going to share the results on the screen. So you have 40 seconds to do that. I believe all of us have already taken their time to select an answer. Okay, see not yet. Well, allow me to close the answer. So that's basically the feedback that I've received. Hope all of us can see the feedback. So it is very clear that most of us would want to know more about Azure. 75% have heard about but they want to know more, and 25% of us are very new to the solution. So my colleague William Aklilu is going to take over from me, and he will dive deep into Azure, and this will primarily focus on the technical aspects of how an organization is able to migrate most of their critical processes, how they're able to back up and use the same application to recover most of their processes in case of a disaster. So William, kindly take over from me.
Can you see my screen? Okay, hello guys, how are you? My name is William. I'm a technical consultant around cloud platforms in here in Techno Brain. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of Azure Site Recovery or Azure Recovery Services. Before starting with Azure, let me discuss about the recovery service options that we have in Azure. In Azure, we have an operations management suite that provides different kinds of operational activities. On this operational activity, one of them is Azure Recovery Services. Under Azure Recovery Service, we have plenty of Azure products such as Azure Backup and Azure Site Recovery. Under Azure Backup, you have the option to take backup of virtual machines or servers or client machines that resides on your premise, and then also you can also take an Azure infrastructure as service workload to be backed up with Azure Backup. And then the other one is Azure Site Recovery. The Azure Site Recovery will help you to take backup, or will help you to recover from disaster by providing a secondary physical site and as a target, or also Azure. You can use Azure as your secondary data center or a disaster recovery site. And then also you can use Hyper-V or virtual machines or bare metal machines to be take over. So let me show you. You can find Here, the one that you see on the screen is an Azure portal, which I'm using. So whenever you want to create an Azure backup or an Azure site recovery, first you need to create a backup vault or a recovery service vault. So I'm going to show you how to create under Azure. So this is, sorry about my internet connection, it might be slower, so bear with me. Under Azure, under Azure Marketplace, you have so many options. Under those options, I will go to monitoring plus management. Under monitoring management, you will have a backup and site recovery. So under backup and site recovery, you need to create a recovery service vault. So I'm going to give a name for my recovery service vault, which is demo service vault, and then I'm going to use my subscription, and then I'm going to use my resource group here. Under my resource group, I just create. This is just basically creating the store, the container that you want to take all your backup and configure all your site recovery. Okay, so once you created your vaults, you will find it under service vaults. Sorry. Here it is, my service vault. So this has nothing, it's just a container. So under this, you have post backup inside. So the backup will provide you multiple options that you can use. On-premise deployments, you can use this on-premise deployment for direct backup client, makes local systems in Azure storage, and then you can use System Center Data Protection Manager to take backup and then store your backups over Azure. So backup, I have a VM that is residing on my Azure account, so I will create a backup. Under my backup, I'm going to show you two things. One from I'll use to take backup on Azure, and then the other one is I'm going to take files and folders from my on-premise server. Okay, this time around I'm going to create the workload that is running on Azure, which is a virtual machine. You only have an option for virtual machine to take backup of, and then I will click OK. Then for the backup policy, Azure will provide you a default backup policy, or you can create a new backup policy that suits your RTO and RPO. As you can see, you can set your frequency of backup, and then the retention details from backup point, and then also you have different kind of retentions so that it suits you on your recovery point objective and time objective. So for this demo, I'm going to use my default policy that is provided by Azure, So this is the daily backup of that happens around 10 p.m. The retention range is retain backup taken every day at this time for 30 days. So let me use my default backup. And then after you take backup, you have Azure will extract everything that you have on Azure portal, since my backup goal is to discover Azure virtual machines that are on my subscription. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to select this one and then click OK. So Azure will validate if that server is running, or if that server can be if that server have an VM extension or not, so that if the VM extension is the one that facilitates the backup process. So I'm going to click OK to deploy the backup or to initialize the backup. The extension will be installed at first backup. So let me go to the server and then see what's there. So from the list of virtual machines, I have selected this one. So when I go to under the section that is called extensions, under this extension, when the first backup is taken, you will see the extension that VM Snap, or the extension from Microsoft. So let me go to the backup jobs and then see what's happening there. After you create the backup job for Azure Virtual Machine, you will see here I have added a backup, one machine that we have just added. So when we go to this machine, you notice that I have an Azure virtual machine. Later I will show you how to add a backup agent on one of your premise server. So this say that this VM that is residing on Azure, backup check passed, and then warning, it will show me a warning. The warning says that initial backup is pending. So for initial, you have two options. You just wait for the backup recovery to, the backup job to start, or you have this option just to start backup now. So when you create this backup now, it will give you how to retain it, or the time to retain this backup. So I'm going to use the default, and then I will click backup now. Then this will create, or this will initialize, or this will trigger the extension to be installed on the VM that I showed you earlier. So let me go back to the previous virtual machine that I have been using for this demo. This will take around 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So let me show you what will happen on the one that have been pre-processed. So this is the virtual machine that I'm using now to show you how the backup work has been done. So this one, when you see this extension, if you have noticed earlier, there was no extension that has been installed. Once the first backup has been taken, the first Azure will install the VM extension, the VM snapshot extension, to process the backup from Azure environment. So my recovery vault is this one. So the previous recovery vault I used in preparing this demo is this one, and then let me show you what I have in my backup items. So under the backup items, when you back up everything, you see that I use the Azure Virtual Machine. Under Azure Virtual Machine, I have so many recovery points, restore points. So this restore point will show you how many backup have been taken from this virtual machine. So on this virtual machine, I can go to restore VM or to recover file. So Azure will provide you a way to recover, to take backup of your Azure, or it will provide you a way to restore the VM totally. You can recover files, or you can recover the VM also. So this is how you take backup for Azure Virtual Machine. And then I have one virtual machine that is residing on my local server here. Here is my virtual machine, so I'm going to show you how you can use Azure to install and configure the agent, and then back up the workloads that you want to back up. So let me show you how this is the virtual machine I'm planning to take. I will create a tests folder which I need to take, and then I will show you how you can install your agent and then take backup of these items. Okay, when you plan to take a backup of a machine on your you will take the same step, backup, and then under backup you need you will set your goal. Now, when you set your goal, the goal should be on-prem. And then on-premise, you may have several backup options. The first backup option that you see on the screen is a file and folder. A file and folder will provide you a way to back up files and folder from your on-prem to Azure or a storage in your Azure environment. So you can take a backup of Hyper-V or Hyper-V virtual machines totally. You can take the virtual machine to reside as a backup on Azure. You can take a VMware virtual machine. You can take SQL Server from Microsoft. You can back up the SQL servers that you need. You can back up your SharePoint farm, or you can back up your SharePoint, or you can back up your Exchange organization, and then you can back up a system state of a virtual machine that is residing on your prem. And then also you can configure a bare metal recovery. So Azure Backup will provide you this service that is residing on your on-prem. So let me walk you through how to configure a file share and folder. Because I use this one because this is a simple, or it won't take me that much time. So I hope you will see this screen. After you set your backup goal, you need to prepare your infrastructure. So to prepare your infrastructure, our backup goal is the backup resides on my premise, and then the things that I'm going to back up is files and folders. So the next step is to prepare infrastructure. On the infrastructure, you need to download agents from the Azure portal. So these agents, you can download this one, download the agent from Windows for Windows Server or in Essential. And then the second step is to download the recovery, that's the credentials for the vault that you have created earlier. So let me download this app. Okay, I have this downloaded agent here. Let me copy and paste on the other side. This is my server where I want to take files and so this is the agent basically. So let it install. Let me download the backup vault credential. Until this installation completes, let me walk you through to the site and recovery. We can always come back to this and then take back up from the other side. So let me show you the site recovery concept, and then I will end up my demo from the server side. So let me close this one and then show you the site recovery option. The site recovery options, you need to prepare your total environment from on-premise so that it will provide you several site recovery options. That when we call a site recovery, the site recovery can be on a second data center or on the second data center, or it can be on Azure. So the Azure site recovery will provide you a heterogeneous environment. It can protect your Hyper-V, and then it can protect your virtual machine that is residing on VMware. So to prepare your environment, you just select what is your goal. So the goal can be here on-premise, since we are recovering our sites, and then the goal can be to Azure or to a recovery site. This recovery site means a secondary data center that you have in your organization. So if you choose Azure, you have the options to select your workloads that is running on VMware or vSphere hypervisor, or Hyper-V, or an unvirtualized environment or other environments. So after selecting your environment, Azure will take you to select your, to prepare your source. So under this source, you need to configure your servers, Hyper-V machines, so that each step will walk you through downloading the agents, downloading the Vault registration, so that after you do this process, you will be able to bring your data center infrastructure to Azure, so that you can recover from any failures that happens, or any disaster that happens on your primary site. Let me go back to the server. Let us see the progress on the installation. The installation is pretty simple. You just install this application or this agent. If you have a proxy, you will set a proxy, and then you will update this agent, and then the installation will proceed. It's just a next procedure. After the installation, you will define a backup. Until this installation finishes, if you have any question, put them on the chat board. Okay, so the second step after the installation is to register your on-prem server using the credential that you have downloaded. The Vault credential I have is this one. So I will provide the Vault credential from desktop. After on the registration, the next step is to generate a passphrase that the virtual machine that to use, and then you will store this this on a particular location. Let me store it on the desktop. This might take several minutes. After this installation, and registration, let me pass you through the second server that I have, that the agent already pre-installed. So this is my server that I have used to install this Microsoft Azure Backup agent. The interface looks like this one. After the registration, you will schedule a backup that suits you. Okay, so you want to modify or stop scheduling. This has been done previously. So after you schedule the backup process will take normally, as you can see, I have several backups that has been doing for this server. So the backup will proceed. If you want to recover backup data from your backup, you just come to the agent and then click recover data. This recovery process will take you through, like, this is basically a next, and then you will mount an additional a virtual drive so that you can recover your files from Azure directly. So this is the demo that I have prepared for you. You can always reach us from the contacts that my colleague will give you. So I will pass you to my colleague.